go over today gear and what I'm using on this tour for the Action is Europe. Going to be talking about drums, cymbals, drum heads, foot pedals, hardware, all the key stuff. Drums are lovely shade of purple sparkle, a classic maple Ludwig series. I've used this kit actually over here, I believe the past 4 tours, and it still sounds really good. Similar to the one that I have at home, which is a silver sparkle. A couple of different things though in the sizes. This kit is actually a 24-inch kick drum, 24 by 14. And the one I use at home is a 26 by 14. Tom sizes are the same though. You've got 14 by 10, 16 by 16, 16 by 18, and snare drum is a Ludwig 6.5 by 14 Superphonic, one of the most used drums in rock and roll. And if you're buying a sample library, most of the snare drum sounds you're going to hear come from this drum. Wonderful snare drum for rock music. Anyways, I've been with Ludwig now for close to 10 years, and the only real difference in this kit to the one that I'll be using on the US leg of the tour is I'll have an extra rack tom here, an extra 14-inch by 12 rack tom, a little bit deeper for kind of like a secondary side left-hand floor tom. And so that pretty much covers the drums and heads or skins that we're using on the drums are Evans Power Center Reverse Dot, which gives me an impact pad on the other side, so it actually keeps it from breaking a few shows in. And we're using the EQ4 on the bass drum and clear. Coated heads on the toms. These are actually Ludwig heavies, Weathermasters that I brought over with me. I had G1s on, with Evans G1s at the beginning of the tour, and they started to wear pretty fast, and then I realized, oh yeah, I usually use 2-ply heads. But we do use the Evans G1s on the bottom, so that way you kind of crank them up a little bit tighter so you get that sort of jazzy tone. It's wide open, no dampening. The snare drum does have some dampening on it, just a little duct tape, because the snare drum sound on the Action is Go album is a little bit drier than what I normally use. So I kind of wanted to make that a little bit closer to the album, and because of that, it makes me play a little bit different, which is kind of odd. So there you go for that. Again, I've been with Sabian now for about 10 years, and really super happy with everything they do, everything they come out with. I have, starting over here from my left, which would be your right, is the 20-inch Paragon Crash. This is the Neil Peart series of cymbals. These cymbals in general are extremely loud. They're very Keith Moon-esque, so I like to really lay into them and roar on them. I have a 22-inch ride that I used at home on the last FU MANCHU studio record, Paragon series as well. Really big bells though, different kinds of lathing on the top and the bottom. So these could also be used as a ride as well, or you could really roar into them and just use them as a really good crash. Then I have two metal crashes. I've got an 18-inch and a 20-inch AAX, which are sort of like the workhorses and you know, very reliable. I've got an Ozone 18-inch crash over here, sort of like my own little mini gong. Sounds like a trash can lid with Swiss cheese holes in it. Wonderful. But also, if you want a little bell action, you can get that going. And regular hi-hats, just medium AA hats. I actually cracked these the other night, so what I've been doing is flipping them upside down and putting the heavy one on the top and the light one on the bottom. The light one, that's right. And but again, just 15-inch, probably an inch bigger than normal people use. Normal people? There are no drummers that are normal people. Anyways, my favorite cymbal right now is my APX 24-inch ride. This ride cymbal is as big as my kick drum. And there's a reason for that, because it has a lot of sound potential in it. It's got a nice sizzle. If you want to do some light riding. For a big cymbal, you can get some surprisingly jazzy sounds out of it. Not that I really need those with FU MANCHU, but again, if you really lay into this cymbal, it roars very loud. Hardware, all the hardware is Ludwig hardware. Not really a lot of bells and whistles. It's kind of the, it's not the new Atlas hardware, but it is just kind of standby Ludwig hardware, which has served me really well over pretty much the last 10 or 12 tours. The only difference for this one is I'm using the two-legged Iron Cobra hi-hat stand, which I'm not usually very fond of these kind of hi-hat stands, but for some reason this one seems to work out pretty well and doesn't rock on me. Probably my most important piece of hardware is the foot pedal on the back side here. And this is just the normal Ludwig rocker plate foot pedal. And very reliable, one spring, nothing crazy, does the job. I can do, you know, real simple things or real complicated things. And it's just, it does the job really well, and I have no complaints on it. last I should say, is this guy over here. And this is a Meinl Kinney Aronoff hand-hammered cowbell, which again, no dampening, but it is cracked on the bottom, so we've flipped it over. But it's super loud. You can barely touch it. It'll tear your head off. So we don't really mic this cowbell. I just beat the hell out of it, and it projects very nicely. We have Vic Firth 5Bs, wood tips so they don't fly off, because usually that's what happens when I use nylon tips, and ProMark stick wrap. And then for my stellar background vocals, we have a Shure Beta 57A, which I've been told by some soundmen that I shouldn't use, but you know, what do they know? They're not drummers. Anyways, that's all the gear for this tour. It's pretty simple. Nothing really complicated, kind of old school, but at the same time very reliable, so I don't know, not too much thought to be put into it. This is what I'm using on the Europe tour, and yeah, Ludwig, Sabian, Vic Firth, Evans, can't really go wrong. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you soon.